All right, welcome. Today we're going to break down how to build a totally compelling business case for any AI project. How to turn that big idea you've got into a project that actually gets the green light. So let's just dive right in. And to start, we really need to understand this core problem that so many companies are running into. It's something people are calling the AI investment paradox. Okay, so on one hand, you've got this incredible enthusiasm for AI, right? It's just off the charts. You've got leaders in every single industry saying, this is it, this is crucial for us to stay competitive. And look, they're not wrong. But then, here's the other hand. Here's the big reality check. A Harvard Business Review report found that only 4%, just 4, of companies are actually seeing significant financial returns on their AI investments. That is a massive gap between all that hype and the actual results. So the big question is, how do you make sure your project lands in that tiny 4%? Well, the answer isn't just throwing more tech at the problem. It's about having a much, much better strategy. And that whole strategy, it starts with a bulletproof business case. Okay, so a successful pitch, it always starts with knowing who you're talking to. I mean, it sounds simple, right? But different leaders care about completely different things. And your case absolutely has to speak their language. You should really think of your business case as a kind of translation tool, right? For the CFO, you've got to speak the language of dollars and cents. We're talking clear ROI. For your security chief, the CISO, the language is all about risk and compliance. For the HR leader, it's all about empowering people. And for the CEO, it's the big picture, the strategic advantage. See, it's one project, but you're really making 4 different pitches. Let's just take the HR leader as an example. You have to frame AI as a tool that empowers your people. It's absolutely critical. And the data totally backs this up. Companies that invest in AI training for their staff, they see a 43% higher project success rate. Think about that. You're not just managing tech. You're investing in your own people to make the tech actually work. Okay, so you've figured out your audience. Now what? Well, let's see how we can build this into a really powerful, structured argument. And we're going to use a simple 4-step framework to do it. So here they are, the 4 pillars of your whole proposal. Step 1, align with strategy. Step 2, identify the right use cases. Step 3, estimate the ROI. And step 4, account for all the costs and risks. Let's break each one of these down. First up, alignment. And this one is huge because it is so easy to fall into that trap of AI for the sake of AI. The key, the absolute key, is to start with a real business problem, not with the shiny new tech. Ask yourself, is customer churn a problem? Are our internal processes way too slow? You have to tie your project directly to a known company priority. And when you do that, the payoff is crystal clear. When AI is aimed at solving real strategic problems, that's when companies see these huge measurable gains. We're talking big boosts in productivity, real revenue increases, and serious cost savings. Okay, next up, use cases. You want to focus your energy where AI can deliver the absolute biggest wins. So think about stuff like automating really tedious work like invoice processing, or using data to get way better at demand forecasting, or even personalizing the entire customer journey. These are real, tangible things that leaders can wrap their heads around and get excited about. And that brings us perfectly to step 3, return on investment, or ROI. Check this out. According to a recent IDC report, companies see an average return of $3.70 for every single dollar they spend on AI. Now that is a powerful number. It's the kind of thing that makes a CFO sit up and pay attention. And visually, this is exactly what you want to show in your business case. You have a manageable investment upfront that unlocks these much, much larger benefits that keep coming year after year. Honestly, the bigger that gap is between those 2 bars, the easier it's going to be to get a yes. But listen, to get to that amazing ROI, you have to be completely transparent about the costs. And I mean all the costs, not just the upfront stuff like tools and hiring people, but also the ongoing costs. Things like model maintenance, cloud service fees, technical support. The goal here is simple, no surprises. And that transparency, it has to extend to the risks too. Look, acknowledging potential problems, things like data quality, getting people to actually use the new system, or security, it doesn't weaken your case. In fact, it does the opposite. It strengthens it. It shows you've thought this through and you're prepared. So for every risk you identify, you need to have a plan to deal with it, like, say, starting with a small pilot project to prove it can actually work. All right, so you've built your case, it's solid. The final hurdle, communication. This is where you turn a document sitting on someone's desk into a real movement, something that leaders in your teams are excited to be a part of. And here's maybe the most important thing to remember about this whole process. Getting buy-in is not a single event. It's not one big meeting where you get a thumbs up or thumbs down. No, it's an ongoing process. It's about engaging with people, listening to what they're worried about, and building that trust right from the very start. So how do you do that? Well, you use strategies like these. You can form a cross-functional team so everyone feels like they have a stake in it. Tell a really compelling story about what the future is going to look like. And this is so important. Show. Don't just tell. Seriously, a quick demo or some solid results from a pilot, that's worth more than 1,000 PowerPoint slides, I promise you. And finally, just remember this. Getting that first yes, that's just the beginning. The real goal, the end game, is to make sure this investment delivers real, lasting value for the entire organization. That business case you worked so hard on, don't let it just sit in a drawer and gather dust after you get approval. You've got to treat it like a living game plan. Measure your actual results against what you predicted. Learn what's working, what isn't, and then use all that real-world data to iterate and make an even stronger case for scaling things up. And that right there is the ultimate payoff. When you do this right, a solid business case turns a one-off project into a core strategic capability. You've totally changed the conversation. You're not justifying why AI anymore. Instead, the question becomes, where else can we win with AI? And that, my friends, is how you build a business case that doesn't just get approved, but one that truly delivers.